Hello, 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 and thank you for joining us. Welcome to the movement. We are a motivational organization here to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. And Annette, here comes your part, as she so affectionately says, as she is rolling her neck. We are a movement to move. Yes, we are. We want to help you thrust into your purpose so that you can start living your best life and win. We want to see everyone become the best version of themselves and do what you're supposed to do. You're blessed to be a blessing, and what you have is a blessing. We've tapped into a winner's mindset, and we want to see you win, right, Annette?
Yes, we want to see you win. WIN. I'll get ready tonight for a word.
Yes, yes. So we have a great discussion, and we're going to go right into it. We're going to dive right in. Our topic tonight. This is something that there was, every so many years, certain sayings become very, very popular. And I remember the year that this became very popular. Oh, you got baggage. Oh, she got baggage. Oh, he's got baggage. Everybody. Oh, and it was such a negative thing. But I'm here to tell you that every single one of us has baggage. And what baggage is often used as a metaphor to describe the uniqueness of a person, those things and isms and schisms and qualities that make
Yeah.
you you. It's your story. Everybody has a story. Everyone has been through something. Everyone has lived. Everyone has loved. Everyone has lost. You just have to make sure that you have the right people in your life who will not just leave you carrying a heavy load, because some of us carry certain things that we shouldn't. There's some stuff we carry and there's some stuff we're not supposed to carry. But then when
That's
our
right.
load is so heavy, it's not necessarily that I need you to help me carry it. I just need people around me that's going to help me unpack what I don't need to carry. So when we
That's
look
right.
at the word baggage, by definition, and this is what really intrigued me, it's intangible things such as feelings, circumstances, or beliefs that get in the way. Intangible things, feelings, circumstances, beliefs that get in the way. And when I look at the word that, and our topic is loss of baggage. So I chose the word um, as our verb tonight. The word loss comes from the word to lose. And when I look at the word lose in the transitive state, it means to undergo deprivation of something of value. To undergo something of deprivation, to undergo deprivation, of something of value. But when I look at it intransitively, when I look at the word intransitively, it means to, hold on, it means to damn, or and it had this particular passage of scripture: if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul.
Mm.
That blew me away, because sometimes, we look at, when we look at baggage, we look at it from just such a negative place that we're not even open to the actual meaning, or how that word can help us. And when we're dealing with a loss of baggage, meaning that we've been through something, that we have, that it has caused us to go through some type of deprivation. So how often is it that you have gone through, you're dealing with your situation, you're dealing with your circumstances, and you look up and realize, wow, I've been carrying this, or I've been dealing with this for so long that I can't seem to get myself out of this thing, and I've got to figure out what to do with it. I'm often reminded of the passage of scripture where the Bible talks about that Jesus saw the lame man laying by the pool. And he looked at him and he said, rise, take up your bed and walk. He didn't tell him to burn the bed, to get rid of the bed, to toss the bed in the sea, to leave the bed. He said, take up your bed. So there's
Yes.
some stuff that we will carry. There's some stuff that we will have with us as a reminder, because, see, it's your testimony. And like I said about the baggage is sometimes what makes you you. Of course, there's some we carry and there's some that we don't. So I'm going to go into our PowerPoint presentation so that we can really dive into this discussion because I remember I remember myself using this term very loosely in my early life. Ooh, Lord, she got so much baggage. Oh, such and such has so much baggage. Oh, blah, blah, blah has so much baggage. And you know what? Now that I look back on it from this understanding, I realize, like, wow, instead of me looking at another person and looking at them as though they have so much baggage that, oh, they just ain't gonna make it. There's no way, there's no hope. Oh, God, I don't know if they're gonna be delivered or not. Instead of looking at it that way, think about how many wonderful things can come from this person who has had so many instances in their lives and that they're so unique that their story is full of deliverance. And that is amazing how you have had that much baggage and you are still here by the grace of God.
All right.
That's something. That's something that wows me. That wows me that I have undergone the deprivation of something of value, because it does not mean that what you're dealing with isn't valuable. It is of value. And technically, all of the things that we go through and we experience are invaluable, means that there's no price tag on what you learn. You could put a price tag on your college education, but that school of hard knocks, there is no price tag because it's invaluable. You can't even pay for that type of education. And they say experience is the best teacher. I can tell you that because there's some stuff mama would tell you not to do, and some people should tell you not to be in association with, and some things that you know you shouldn't have done and places you shouldn't have gone. And the lesson that you learn from that is like, wow, man, if I would have only listened. And then you can sit around and tell other people, don't do like I did. Let me tell you something. That's a hard road you're going down. So I'm going to open up our presentation. And some of us have it just like this.
Yep.
Oh, look at them bags. Look at them bags. Look at them bags. Loss of baggage. Now, I have toured a lot. I've been all over the world. And so every time I would tour, I learned from each tour to the next tour how to properly put my stuff together, because I have been this person where I had a whole bunch of little straggly bags, just like you got a little bag, and you got the medium-sized bag, and you got the big bag, and you got the bag that you're carrying on, and then you got a backpack, and you got a purse that is full. Got just so much stuff like, bag lady, you gon' hurt your bag. That was me. And I had to learn, I learned over the years, and sometimes it was better for me to get I ended up buying, which I still have to this day, I bought a Samsonite suitcase because it's a hard case, and that thing it outlasted most of my suitcases. It's a hard case, and you can just roll it, at that time you had to just pull a little lever and roll it, but it would not break. It could bump around and get scarred up. That thing has been all over the world, and I've never had a problem with it. So, and it's very costly, but that hard, sturdy suitcase will outlast all them little pretty print and flowery and the fancy colors, and it won't rip. So I learned over time how to do it. And this is something that you have to do. You have to learn what to do with your stuff. And when you're learning that, you have to learn to check your bags and pack properly. When you pack properly, because stuff shifts. Have you ever packed your stuff in a suitcase, and then when you get to your destination, everything has shoved down to one side? It's not all cute and neat like it was when you first packed it. And what you have to understand is that your bags will go through a lot of hands. It'll go through some turbulence. They don't care. They're not thinking about which side to hold it up. They're not thinking about that the wheel that you sit it up on this side. They're gonna take your bag and toss it. They're going to throw it. They're going to sit on it. They're going to run over it. All of these things are going to happen. So whatever is inside your bag has to be secured and packed properly. And that is us in life. In life, you know, it's one thing to have the baggage, but it's a whole nother thing to let the whole world know every little piece of items that's inside your bag.
Yeah, well, come on now.
Everybody, you know, you don't have to go around and make an announcement about every little thing that's in your bag. Some stuff is just meant to be packed and secured and tightly, neatly wrapped and tucked. I'll never forget, my mom used to always say, make sure your stuff is neat, roll it up. She taught me how to roll up my stuff really tight and pack it neat and tie it in with that little strap. She said, because it's gonna move around, and make sure all of your toiletries are in a Ziploc bag and that they have tape on certain ones so it won't spill with the pressure from the plane. You know, all that stuff I had to learn how to do. And I have an artist, and I remember telling her the same kind of stuff. And when she was younger, I used to pack for her. But as she got older, you know, you're grown. You can do your own packing. Oh my God, the last time I went on the trip with her, she opened her suitcase when we got there. It looked like it was supposed to look at the end of the trip. I just looked at her bag like, what the ham and eggs? Oh, but I know where everything is. Oh, but I know where everything is. She didn't know where nothing was. She couldn't find her hair ties. She couldn't find her her eyelashes. I'm like, you know better than to pack like this. Because not only is your stuff just thrown in there, you don't know where anything is. And then when you open your bag, when you become exposed, when your stuff becomes exposed and is raggedy as a mango seed, everybody will look at you like, oh my gosh, she's a mess. And that happens to us in our natural life. There's some things when we go through issues and we have problems, you know, there's some stuff that's between you and the person you dealt with and you and God.
That's
It
right.
ain't meant to be all out in public and you talking about it every step and telling the testimony. Oh, I remember one time me and my husband got into it. Like, okay, and I used to hear the church mothers and stuff saying, don't tell it, don't tell it, don't tell it. So you have to like, oh Lord, we talking about I pack like that. Child, you need help, Will. So you have to learn not to tell and expose everything.
Yeah.
You have got to keep some stuff. You got to pack it properly. So check your bags, because when you get to that counter, and what will happen if you're flying and or going on a trip, and then you happen to be the one whose bags they decide, oh, we got to inspect your bags. I've had that happen too with some people who were mighty embarrassed when they opened up the bags and their underwear grinning right on top. So you have to be careful and mindful that when you're going through stuff and you're dealing with things, don't overexpose yourself. Don't overpack, don't underpack, and secure it properly. There's another thing, because I've dealt with this too. I've had a friend who dealt like this. Too many bags. Too many bags. Okay. Now they've got very strict with airlines. You can only, you got to pay for them. And they're like, you come up in here with 12 bags if you want to. You're paying $50 and $60 per bag. I bet you're going to tone it down, and you're going to make sure that your bags are within the guidelines, especially when you have to pay $30 per bag. Very rarely will I take a second bag. I have learned my lesson about taking that extra bag. It is not worth the $30 per trip, and sometimes more. So when I go through my process of too many bags, this is when you got to make sure, as I said earlier, you have to make sure who's around you so they can help you unpack some of that stuff. Because some stuff ain't meant to go with you everywhere you go. I have another story. There was this church mother, oh my God, she was so funny. She wasn't even older, but she had all of her kids, or all of her children were grown. But she had grandbabies that she took care of in church all the time, because her kids, they were musicians, they sang on the praise team and everything. And so I remember this one particular day, she was just reaching in her purse with all kinds of stuff. And I remember her daughter say, who carries crayons in your purse? And I said, your mama, because she's still raising your brothers and they grown. And I chuckled, but it was the truth. And she would always come to church with like one big bag and a purse and another bag. And it was like all these bags. And one bag was a little cooler bag that had little snacks and drinks and water and food, because she was kind of sickly. And then she had some other stuff for her grandbabies. And then she had anything that you needed. Oh, do you have a nail clipper? She had it.
Do you have a blob? You got a Band-Aid? She had it. She had everything in her bag. Now, when you're walking into a situation, sometimes you can't carry all that stuff because you ain't going to even be able to get through the doorway. If your bags are out to here and you have to move quickly, you got to turn around. You got to pick up this bag and that bag and this bag and that bag and this. And then by the time you get your bags, the train is gone. You have to relieve some of that stuff.
That is so true.
You have to relieve some of that stuff because remember, it's not necessarily that it's not necessarily that you have gone through a situation that is negative with a loss of baggage. It's a situation that is needed. It's a situation that you have to learn that there are some things that you just can't carry. Next thing is there's a weight limit. Because you have to pack properly, you have to tone it down, you have to make sure that you're under the right weight. The weight limit on a plane is 50 pounds. Trust me, I got it down to a science. And I had to remind my artists, you ain't on that budget right now. It's coming. You're coming back to the place where you have that budget, where you and your team can fly first class all the time. And when you fly first class on Delta, your baggage is free. She has had bags before that was 90 pounds. And I remember the bagman looking at us like, my God, what's in there? A body? But it's like all her stuff, all her shoes and her makeup and everything was so heavy. We had so much stuff that we had to carry on tour. But because we paid extra money for those first class tickets, all of our luggage, we could carry as much as we want and it could be as heavy as we want. There was no limit on first class luggage. So that was our saving grace. But now, you ain't flying that way all the time. You flying that way sometimes. So I have to remind her, this is not a first class flight. Your baggage needs to be under 50 pounds. So you need to weigh it before we get there because I'm not going to be having you sitting out there pulling stuff out and trying to figure out what I can put in my purse and in my computer bag because I've had to do that before. And that is not a good way to be. So you have to make sure that it's not too heavy. So when you have a heavy load of stuff, you have things that are weighing you down. The Bible says that we're to set aside and lay aside every weight, everything which so easily besets us. You don't want something that's going to weigh you down so much that your life can't have any pickup. You can't even get a move on because you're carrying so much weight that you're not supposed to. Check those bags. Check the bags. And the last thing is no harmful content allowed. You ever been to the counter and they ask you if you have lithium batteries or anything like, all kinds of things, any liquids, any food, any blah, 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 because those are the things that cause problems in travel. And you have to make sure that what you have inside your bag is what's supposed to be there and what's suitable for where you're going. And see, that's why you need somebody to help you unpack some of that stuff. Because some stuff you just, it's time to let it go. Yeah, he hurt you. Yeah, he used you. Yeah, she betrayed you. Yeah, they fired you. Yeah, it was a loss you suffered. Your family member didn't make it. But there's some stuff you cannot carry anymore because it is too harmful for the job and for the work that you're getting ready to do. So in checking your bags, make sure that you have dealt with each area here because I want you to make sure that when you go into that next level, that you don't have anything that's going to get in your way, that you go through that whole process. It says to undergo deprivation of something of value. Yes, those things are valuable. Yes, those are lessons. Yes, those are experiences. Yes, all of that is so true. But when you look at loss to the point that what would it profit you to have all of that and lose where you're supposed to go?
Come on now.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Don't be damned. Let it go. All righty then.
Well, picking up where Anita left off at. It's too heavy. Let it go. We are carrying things that we were not designed to carry.
Come on now.
That is why so many people are sick in their bodies. They're sick in their minds. That's why people get caught up in drugs and all kind of illicit affairs, because we carry things that we were not designed to carry. It's just too heavy. It's some things that, you wonder why you can't sleep at night. You wonder, why things are not going right, because you're carrying things that God did not design us to carry. And especially a lot of times with us women, especially, we tend to carry a lot of things that we're not supposed to. We carry other people's problems. We carry our children burden. We carry, our grown children. I be up like, oh Lord, wonder what's going on with Shauna and Jacksonville. Wonder what, what's going on with Yolanda. I don't want to have to go down there and slap your main side of the head. What kind of craziness.
You want to slap them,
because I'm carrying stuff I'm just not supposed to carry, but I still do. My grandkids, I worry about them. But anyway, that's what we do. So guilt is the pathway to weakness. We carry guilt. It's a pathway to weakness because what happens with guilt, it cripples us. It causes us to be clumsy and not make the right choice. It drains us. It's toxic. It breeds shame. It's a wrong reaction. So when you're guilty about something, you become weak because you're so focused on what happened to guilt that you can't even see past where God is trying to take you. So he's trying to take you to deliverance and healing, but we're on the pathway to weakness because we've been crippled. We've been crippled by heartache. We've been crippled by disappointment. We've been crippled. And so we carry that. We carry that guilt, that thing. And one thing about guilt, you can't change if whatever you did, you can't change it.
Come on.
But we carry it. And, it becomes such a burden. I know I was guilty, some things I've done. And some things I've wronged people, and I carry it, but now I've learned how to release it. You have to release that. You have to release it because being guilty is like committing an offense. It's it's a crime. It's a violation, and so many of us have violated certain areas. But you can't change yesterday, so you have to learn how to go forward. And so the guilt is the pathway to weakness. Yes, it is. But the guilt is always also the pathway to healing and the pathway to deliverance. But you got to get to the place that you're tired of carrying stuff that you can't do anything about. Because if you carry stuff too heavy, it wears you out. One day I was carrying something. I like, good God Almighty. I was so glad when I got where I had to get to because it was overwhelming. It had tired me out. And that's what happens. We get overwhelmed and we get tired out, and then we don't even know what's wrong with us. I dare tell you, go back and look over your life, peruse over your past and see what that guilt is and deal with that guilt. Forgive yourself. And if you can, ask others to forgive you. If not, forgive yourself, move on to your next place in life. But one form of punishment is regret. Regret is feeling sad. It's a repentance. It's this place, where you made a mistake and you can't change it.
Right.
How you just regret. Now, why didn't I do this? And why didn't I do that? I should have, I had
woulda, coulda, shoulda.
I had this opportunity to do something, and because of fear, and even in my own life, I remember where I was going to move to Jacksonville. And I was going to move to Jacksonville because, number one, I felt like it was a better opportunity for me. And my daughter lived there, so I would have had somewhere to stay. I would even have my job at DCF, what to do. But because, I didn't do it. And the reason I didn't do it was fear. Because I've always been one of those people. And that's why I've been out of place for so long and out of line. Because, sometimes when you're disobedient, you get out of line and things don't work. See, I was supposed to, a long time ago, left where I'm working, but I always think, well, at least, I got a job and, at least I can pay my bills, and at least, so I had those regrets, and for so many years, it tormented me, and I felt like I was being punished because I was disobedient.
Who say get out of her business? She said, who told you her business?
Yeah, because I should have done it, because, and I found this when I was really doing the research, when I was looking at regret, it say, think before acting is wisdom, act before thinking is regret. So, I say that again, think before acting is wisdom. And I didn't walk in my wisdom, but act before thinking is regret. So I had to walk and regret, but I had to acknowledge the regret and the mistake I made. I had to acknowledge that, You know, I had to identify the problem, and then I had to move on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't do it, you know, and I so regret it. I'm talking about 10 years ago, way before I met my husband. Had nothing to do with him. Way before then, but I always was like, because I had already said it was in my head, y'all. You know, I said, well, you know, I got this house. And see, that's what the enemy does. He'll tell you, he'll cause you to, you can't see past your nose. All you see is, well, you know, I got this job and I got this house. And God said, but I got a mansion. I got a mansion waiting on you. I got a job. I got an organization. You know, I got a ministry. But because I didn't step out, you know, I live with regret. So I will say this to you, for everybody who's listening. If you feel led to do something, other people may think you're crazy, they may think you're dumb. Don't be like me, look back 10, 15 years later and regret it. You know, because I've been on this job 35 years. There's no gratification. In fact, actually, I've been used because I have been used for over 35 years. Why? Because they never gave me my value. I am more valuable than what they could ever pay me.
Come on.
And even with that, they underpaid me over the years.
Come
so
on.
You know, that I mean, step out, believe, trust. You know, we had to step out with this organization. We had to jump off the little ledge, and we had to do our little flipping and flapping, but we did it.
You had to flip it and flap on.
Yeah, we did it. So I'm here to let you know, it's too heavy, let it go. And for so many years, I didn't understand why I feel like I go to work. Even now, I dread it, but I do it because until God released. See, this season, when he released me, I'm going. And sometime God will give you another season. So my season is coming back around, and when it's time, I promise him I'll let go. But I was always afraid, and fear would get in the way, and fear would cause you, you know, fear is heavy. Fear,
yes,
I mean, you wear fear like a coat. You know, it's like I'm wearing fear in the summertime, and I'm, you know, and you know, I got a coat on. That's how I felt. I felt confined, and you know, so I definitely want to share that with y'all. You know that, you know, sometimes we miss our window, we miss our opportunity. But God is such a gracious God, and he's such a wonderful God. Sometimes he'll bring it full circle, and you know, it's up to you at that point. What are you going to do? You know, and Anita talk about it all the time in her own life, how people, you know, said things and how you gonna do this, but she decided, you know what, I'm not gonna live in regret. I'm gonna take this opportunity, and if I fail, I fail. But at least I stepped out to what I believe. And when you step out in what you believe, you're not a failure, even though that opportunity may have failed, but it does not make you a failure. So, and the next is lurking around the corner is shame. Shame lay in wait. It be lurking and waiting on you. And I don't care who you are, there has been something in your life you've been ashamed of. And you know, and shame will tell you that you'll never overcome it. Shame will tell you you'll never amount to anything. You know, shame actually would cause you to live. It's almost like living a lie. You know, it's, you know, when I remember when I was had my child young, and I had to deal with years of shame because, you know, 45 years ago, Yolanda, I hope she's not on here. But anyway, 45 years ago, you know, cheers.
Yeah, because she was earlier when you said you were going to go to Bunnell to slap somebody. She said, "Don't let me stop you."
So, you know, 45 years ago, I had to live in shame because during that time, now thank God things have evolved, and you know, we got kids can go to school pregnant, but you know, I had to live in that shame. You know, shame was lurking around the corner for me. You know, the multiple divorces I had. You know, there have been people who, I've never been on drugs, but there have been people that's on drugs. Even my brother right now spend ties on payment. Right now he incarcerated. So there are things in your life that cause you to have shame. There are things in your life will lay in wait on you and cause you, you know, to be so confined and caught up in what you've done or what you've gone through that you will never go further, because you'd be so embarrassed and so ashamed of what people say about you or think about you. But if the truth be told, and I had to learn this, but if the truth be told, everybody got a story. Everybody had to live through some shame. There have been people who had to cry at night. There's been people who were humiliated and distressed. You know, so we've gone through a shame. We've done things we shouldn't have done. And I'm just here to let you know, you don't have to carry that no more. Let that go. Exactly. Let that go. Let Mr. Shame that's lurking around the corner waiting on you say, bye, brother, because it's time for you to move on. So I had to move from shame, and I had to believe. Oh, I had to believe that I am more than a conqueror. I had to believe that I'm somebody. And when I look in my mirror, I had to see that I am an overcomer. And the problem is, y'all, a lot of times when we look in the mirror, yeah, we see a face, we see an image, but are you really seeing who you are? Are you seeing past your face? Are you seeing your heart? Are you seeing your spirit, your soul, who you really are? And so when you begin to let that stuff go, then you have just such a freedom to walk in. You know what? I be walking around. You would think, child, that if you looked at my bank account, you see a lot of commas. Mm-mm. You look at my bank, you're going to see like a period, like maybe 60,
Oh God.
00. But that has nothing to do with who I am.
Right.
Because there are so many people who have many commas and they don't love life. I mean, we talked about it before. We've had wealthy people, that have committed suicide, wealthy, that you would assume they had everything. So, anyway, a lurk around the corner is shame. And finally, anger is a momentary emotion that has a lasting effect. When you're angry, you have to be careful how you handle that.
Come on now.
Because anger could cause that one moment in time could cause you could change your whole life. There are people that if you talk to people who've been incarcerated, who've done different type of stealing, it's just that one moment, that one decision, and it changes their whole life. So you have to get to the point where anger, you have to control it. So if I'm always angry and I'm always bitter and I'm always mad and things ain't going well for me, well, then you stuck. What happened? You get stuck in a rut because you can't get past that because woe is me. Life has not been fair to me. Everybody else look like they're going to the next level. Everybody else like they got it going on. No, if you really follow them home and be a fly on the wall, because most people, what they show you is what they want you to see. And so you have to be careful with anger, that you won't allow that to cause you to miss out, cause you not to go to the next level. Anger will cause you to become so bitter and mean and contrary. Nobody want to be around you because you're always negative. You ain't never got nothing good to say. I hate people like that. How you doing that? Oh, child, girl. I mean, I be thinking that, is there anything ever go right in your life? Are you ever happy? What happens is that anger and that bitterness starts to build. And then anger and bitterness, they're cousins.
Come on.
In fact, they're first cousins. And so when anger and bitterness start building, then you can't see past that. Because why you're carrying things that you're not designed to carry.
Come on.
You're not designed to carry anger. You're not designed to carry bitterness and guilt and regret and shame. You were not designed that way. But I believe that God designed us to go through some things to become better people and to get to where we need to go, because there's a process. You can't become a baby, be born, and then 6 months later you're grown. No, you have to go through different stages. At every stage that you go through, there's a process. There's some things I learned at every stage in my life. And then when I got to 60, it's almost like I almost started over in a sense, because how I view life has changed. My mindset has changed. And so the things I used to carry, I don't carry guilt. Okay, yeah, I was, for a while I was a little hurt that I didn't move. But you know what? Maybe it was a good thing. I don't know. But, and I truly don't have no shame, because it is what it is. If I could change my life, I would. I can't. I've been married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced. And then one day I realized something. I said, wait a minute. I'm marrying the same man, but a different face. So I had to get to the place that I learned who I was and stop carrying stuff, trying to find something that I felt like I lost when I was 15 years old. I was trying to find that love and find that person and find that joy and find that peace. And I had to understand something that's gone. Now I got to go forward and find the peace that God has, the joy he has for me that's waiting on the other side of this. Yes, that's it for that. It's too heavy. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. If I could sing, I'd tear it up right about now, but we ain't gonna go there. Oh boy. And next is unpack your suitcase. Some of us are walking around with everyone our suitcase. You got 5 suitcases and everyone I'm full. You got all kind of stuff going on. And let me say this before I move. And a lot of us like having suitcases. We like there are some people who like wallowing in disappointment, and they like being a disillusion, and they, it's like, oh yeah, but child, it's gonna always be like that. Oh, I don't think so, not in my life, and not on me and Anita's watch. No, not if you're gonna be on the movement. You got to get ready to win. Okay, next is your trunk is full, empty. There are so many of us who have junk in your trunk. Now I know that has a different meaning. It's, women supposedly, have big bottoms, but I'm not talking about that kind of junk. I'm talking about that kind of, that trunk that you have. Leonard have a trunk. And I think he's had it most of his adult life. And in that trunk, he has all kind of stuff. His birth certificate, birth of his kids, all different Social Security, his divorce, all kind of stuff. And most of it is probably important to him. I ain't never been in there. I'm gonna go in there one day. But he has so much stuff in there. And so that's how we are. We have so much stuff in our trunk. We think it's important. But a lot of that stuff is not important in your trunk. You need to empty that out. You need to take that out. One of the things that you need to take out of your trunk is your inner critic. That inner critic is you, that person, that you the one that tell yourself who you cannot be. You have to learn how to silence that voice. If that inner voice cannot tell you you're wonderful, if that inner voice cannot tell you you're great, if that inner voice cannot speak to your inner man in a positive way, so you got to silence that inner critic. We're so busy worrying about the world criticizing us, but it's that inner critic that we have to understand that causes us the most problems. So we had to unpack that suitcase. Past relationships, see, we for years, I was just tore up from the floor. My last marriage, I thought I was just gonna die about 5 times, resuscitate me and I die again, because I was just so hurt. And so what I had to learn how to do is go past my past. See, I was stuck in my past, but once I learned how to go past my past, I was able to unpack that suitcase, and I don't carry that no more. I don't carry that past relationship no more, because I unpacked that. I realized it was not good for me. It was not good for where I was going. It was not good for my health. It was not good for my wealth. It was not good for me. So I had to learn how to go past my past. And then I had to unpack stress and worry about things that I could not change. I'm stressing about yesterday. I'm stressing I didn't do this. I'm just stressed the heck out. I just stressed. But I had to learn how to unpack that suitcase and take out the stuff that emptied it out. I had to empty my suitcase totally. I had to empty out myself. Then I had to replace it with what was important. Because a lot of stuff I was carrying wasn't important. I love my children, but it's not important that I carry them every day. I don't need to be like, what they doing? Let me call you. No. I pray for them. I gave them to God, and I can't stress about that. I can't carry, I can't carry my grandkids. I love them, but I can't carry them. And so we get to that point. There's some things that you just can't carry no more. So, you have to release it. But not only that, you have the carry-on bag. A lot of times when Anita was saying, when you fly, because you pay for baggage, a lot of people like to carry on the carry-on bag, that way you don't have to pay for that. You carry them. But my question is, you have to carry only what you need. What do you need? What do you need to carry? Well, you got to learn how to carry patient. Don't pressure yourself. Be patient. A lot of time we get in such a hurry. Yeah, we need to get stuff done. Me and Anita was in a hurry about stuff. We was on, we was running a race. We was getting ready. Okay, but no. We had to learn how to be patient. God got this, but we got out of sync. Because we were so excited about what we saw. We were so excited about where we were going that we weren't as patient as we should. But then we had to learn, don't pressure yourself. It's going to work out. And we've seen like this year has been like magnificent. Whereas if we had taken upon ourselves to go and do what we were going to do, it would have caused problems. Yeah, it definitely, we would have exploded, whatever.
All of the above, all of the we would
You
have
know?
multiplied.
So learn how to be patient. There's lessons, there when you got carry-on bag, there's things you need to learn, and you carry what you need to know. You carry is to understand, where you're going, what do I really need to take? Is this important? Is this important? So look at your life, take a step back and just do, look at it and say, now, what do I really need to carry? Am I carrying something I shouldn't carry? So we need to get to the point, that we understand what we need to carry. We need to figure out what needs to be on our carry-on bag, because just because it's in your life don't mean you have to carry it. Just because
And
that
don't
person's
try to make your carry-on bag fit your checked bags. That's one of
okay.
the things that aggravate me on a plane is when I see people get on with a carry-on and it's bigger than the suitcase underneath. And you trying to squeeze that into
Yeah.
the overhead. I'm like, you didn't want to check that?
And you know what? Sometimes people carry-on bag is so heavy.
Right.
So you still, again, you carrying heavy.
You can't even pick it up to put it in there. That means
Yeah, somebody got to help you lift it up over your head.
you should have checked it.
Because you're trying to save money, whatever you're trying to do.
Uh-huh.
So, just understand that carry what you need. And also, I'm pushing on. So you have to have a wrinkle free, no iron garment bag. One thing about a garment bag. Bag is when you take your clothes. A lot of times people iron their clothes and they put it in a garment bag, and it protects the clothes. And so what you're trying to do, you're trying to get everything organized in such a way that the garment bag, so when you get where you're going, everything is in line. You don't have to iron. You can just start, getting dressed or whatever you're going to do. And so people do that. And also it causes your clothes to be wrinkle free, and you don't have to iron. And so even in our lives, we need to be like a garment bag. Everything is just so everything lined up. No wrinkles. So we have to get to a point in our life that we do a life audit. Where is my life going? I'm trying to get to a place. I'm trying to line it up. And then we need to prioritize our life. And then we need to set goals. And then we need to forgive yourself and keep moving. So that's what I love about a garment bag. When I was thinking about that, I said, you know what? A garment bag is important. It is important. And so, that's how our life is. Our life should be lined up in such a way. It could be wrinkle free and no iron. We get lined up, and we believe that everything may not be looking like we want it to now, but we believe that it's going to get lined up, and we'll be able to put our life in this garment bag, and it's be wrinkle free, and everything will come together. And so that's how it is with your mission and your vision and your organization. You get to the place where you can get lined up, and you can audit your life, and you can prioritize stuff, and then you get it just so, and everything will work out. And then finally, a duffel bag. Duffel bag, a lot of times, it can be heavy and unable to carry.
I learned that lesson too.
Yeah, duffel bag. Oh my gosh! If anybody plays sports, you have to put them heavy shoes in there, and so you're carrying. You're doing a lot of heavy lifting. And that's how we are in our life. We do a lot of heavy lifting. But I'm here to let you know we need to be able to take a load off our mind. The stuff that's been consuming you and getting you to the place where you can't even function, you can't even think, and you just get all off. And some are just off. We just off. We need to get to a place that we get stuff off our mind. And even my own mind, sometimes I get caught up in like, how I'm gonna do this and how I'm gonna do that. I don't know, I don't know how to do it. And I'm carrying it, becomes heavy. So I had to learn how to get a load off my mind. So sometimes with that duffel bag, it's heavy. So you need to get a load off your mind, and you have to learn how to relocate your emotions and your feelings. I know I'm not the best today. So you know what? Maybe I'm not going to talk to nobody today, because I don't want to take this emotion, what I'm feeling, and put it on somebody else. So we have to learn how to deal with that. And finally, we have to identify our triggers. What is it that sets you off? What is it that causes you to go off on a deep end? What's that trigger? What's that thing that really bugs you? When that phone rang and there's a certain person on there you don't like to talk. Have you ever had your phone ring?
Mm-hmm.
And you say, oh gosh.
Mm-hmm.
That's drama. And we have it in our family. Every family got one.
No answer.
Trouble. So those are the things you have to unpack. And if my phone rang, I don't really have nobody now. But back in the day, there were certain people would call me, and I go, oh my gosh, I'm just let this go to the voicemail. And then
I did that today.
Yeah, you know, and so unpacking this stuff is very important in your life. And you know, even with you having, you know, traumatic things happen in your life, like Anita with her her brother, you know, but because you know who you are, and even when things happen, it does it kind of get you off kill a little bit. But when you know who you are, and some kind of way you find strength. And what happens, and I'm getting ready to finish, what happens is because we've already walked through traumatic experiences, so when other stuff happens, it hurts, but you're able to do it. There's that one thing will knock you to your knees and you think you'll never overcome it. But then after that, I'm not saying all of it's easy. I'm saying that the way you go through it is different. It's just a difference. When my mom died, you know, it was like very traumatic. And, you know, so it's just times in our life we need to learn how to unpack your suitcase. So everybody, unpack your suitcase. Get to the place, you know, get to the place where you be able to enjoy life to the fullest and be able to win.
Amen.
Show up, engage,
and win.
Yes.
All righty then. Well, and you know what? In this process, and that we have to accept the good, bad. I put bad. That's going to be bad and ugly. We have to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when you know, I looked at this. We were talking about the garment bags. I was like, my clothes still wrinkled. I looked at all of this stuff, and in looking at all of this stuff, my life, you know, my when I looked at my situation, and I looked at the things that I experienced, I started, like, you know, it starts to make you feel bad. I don't know if you know, when you it's one thing to say you want to deal with it and to say, you know, I got it, I'm good, I'm going, you know, I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm just going to deal with this thing for what it is. But it's a whole nother ballpark when you actually have to
That's
do
true.
it. When you actually have to do it, that's a tough place to be. And it's very hard sometimes to accept and deal with the issues at hand, you know, even though you know that's what you need to do, because you're trying to move forward. You're trying to get ahead in life. You're trying to face your fears and your insecurities and the inhibiting things about yourself, and coming to the realization of those things and coming to a positive state of mind. And it's almost like we get to a point that we try to force ourselves to be positive without dealing with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when we try to do that, it's the same thing as trying to drive a car with the brakes on. You're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to shake and burn all the rubber off your tires, but you're never going to move forward. So we have to understand that we have that if we have all of this stuff, we've gathered negative feelings. We have the good stuff. We have resentment, and like Annette said, we have guilt. We have fear. We have emotions. Our perception is off. We limit our possibilities. All of these things are happening. Oh, my boss is unfair to me. And, you know, and we want to enter into a realm of new possibilities and new things, but it's very hard to move forward when you have not really dealt with the containers, which is what the baggage is. It's containers of all of life's experiences. And the thing is, what's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. It's full of stuff. It's full of love. It's full of anger. It's full of hurt. Just like when you pack your bag, you might pack your bag for a trip and you'll pack some shirts and stuff that you know you're really not going to wear, but you pack them just in case. Or you pack that pair of shoes, they're cute and you really want to wear them, but when you get there, you realize your corn hurt and those shoes stay right in the suitcase.
Yeah.
You pack something that's comfortable, it's got a hole in it, but if I just turn it to the side and don't like walk real wide-legged, nobody will see it. So we do all kinds of stuff, and we'll carry things that we know that we should not carry. But, you know, and we'll have all of these experiences, and what we have to do is accept what we have and deal with it. And there's sometimes you just might have to take the pants with the hole in them, because guess what? The ones that zip up just might be too tight. And one meal, you ain't gonna be able to button them up. So you take the ones with the elastic in the waist to pull out a needle and thread and deal with it. We have to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yep.
The stuff that's overused, the stuff that's weighing us down, the stuff that we know we have to deal with, and the stuff that we have to face. So we got to this point now. We're unloading and unpacking some things, but there's something like we told you in the beginning. There's some things that you just gonna have to carry, and everything that you carry in your container of experiences, it's not gonna be great. It's gonna be some bad things. It's gonna be some things that made you feel and made you think. Because guess what? That is gonna help somebody else. That's the positive side of this thing. The other thing is we have to learn from and appreciate all of the contents. There are so many lessons, like, and they talked about the lessons that she's learned and the things that she experienced. There are so many lessons in our containers. Learn from those lessons and get past it. Learn that, just because, like, for instance, if you're eating something, there was the thing I read one time about different people tasting vinegar. And they had the person who tastes vinegar all the time. And they had a really bad look on their face, like, the vinegar, it was bitter, it was sour, it had a horrible taste. And you could automatically tell from the look on their face that the vinegar was sour. Then the next person who tasted the vinegar had a different expression. It was because it wasn't bitter to him as bitter as it was to the next person. Then you have the third person who tasted the vinegar, and he took it as though, life is full of bitter and sweet experiences. So it's just another one of those bitter experiences, because vinegar isn't sweet. Vinegar, but then there are some people who can tolerate it better than others. So then when we look at the first, when we look at our situation from the first perspective of something that happens, we might feel some type of way and have like that bitter, like, twist on our face, like, oh my God. Oh, but then the second time that thing happens to you, it's not as bad, because then you know how to deal with it. You have a better tolerance level. I remember saying one time I was going through something so bad, and I said, I bet you one thing, an experience like this, I will never cry over again. I have cried enough tears over this situation. I don't even have any more left for anything like it. It's going to take something a whole lot bigger and a whole lot worse to get tears out of me, because this took the tears. And I just don't have them anymore for that. So that's when you get to the person who takes the baggage and accepts the good and the bad and accepts all of the ugly that comes with the baggage. And then, like with that person who tastes the vinegar, the experience of it, might be unique. It might be a little tangy, but it's not all bad. And even if you've ever tasted balsamic vinegar, is different from apple cider vinegar, and it's different from white vinegar. All of them have a different type of sharpness and a different type of thing, but there's a sweet and a sour in all in one. And so when you get to the point that you are getting, through life, and your life's experiences have taken you through so many things, that when you do taste that vinegar, you can say, instead of being twisted up, you're like, yeah, it's a little tangy, it's a little bitter, because your outlook is different. That's how Annette was able to say, oh, I'm upset right now, but I may not look like it on the outside. I am very angry. And I was like, shout, I was ready to fight. And Annette was able to just sit there and go, I just know everything is going to work out. God is in control. and everything's going to be fine. That's a prime example of somebody who has learned over time to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly, and learn from and appreciate all of the contents that are in that baggage. Because everybody's not going to do things the way you think they ought to be done, and everybody's not going to be sweet and nice and welcoming to your ideas, your visions, your goals, and your dreams. So you have so much stuff that's in your container of life's experiences that you can use. So just be mindful that you just have to accept what's there. The other thing is, it's a part of your existence. You are who you are because of what's inside that bag. All of it, everything that you've gone through from the time you were born until now was designed for exactly where you are in the center of God's will for your life. It was by design. It's a part of your existence. So don't fight it, accept it. And then the last thing, it makes your story unique. Nobody can ever say that they dealt with or experienced things the way that you did. Nobody can ever tell your story better than you can. You're the only one who can tell and show your story, the benefits, the experiences, all of that. You're the only one. And it makes you unique. It makes you who you are. It's a part of your existence. And all that you have dealt with is designed to go into your music, to go into your work, to go into your speeches, to go into your sermons, to go into the ears of everyone who would encounter what you have to offer. All of that is by design. Now, you don't have to tell your whole life story, and every time you meet somebody, but they about done fell asleep like Alex Haley did in Roots, when he had to listen to the whole story about the family lineage until they got to Kunta Kinte, and he was sitting there falling asleep like. And when they got to that part, he's like, yeah, that's what I remember. That's what my father told me. That's what my grandfather told me. So yeah, but the storyteller says he couldn't tell the story from that spot. He had to go all the way back to the beginning to tell the entire thing. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to go back to the beginning and tell everything. There are some things that are designed for this moment and some things that are designed for that moment. Just like that garment in the bag. You're not going to open up your suitcase and wear everything that's in there at the same time. God bless you. Now, I know that some people might look like it, but that's not how it's designed. You ain't supposed to put on every shirt and every pair of shoes and just walk around in all your clothes at the same time. No. When it's cold, right. You put on a sweater. When you want to be comfortable, you put on your flat shoes. When it's rainy, you might need to put on a hat. So those are the things that you need to understand, that everything in your bag makes your story unique. And whatever part of your story is for that moment, if it's in your bag for where you are, that's what you share. And some stuff is in the bags at home, so you're not carrying around that entire conglomerate of bags that you see down there on the bottom of the screen. You might have one or two that you're carrying with you, but you leave the rest of those bags home. I can't carry every suitcase that's in my closet. I have to leave some stuff at home. So we want you to just be encouraged today that, you know, even though your life has taken some twists and turns, and even though it seems like it's too heavy and that you can't quite bear it, that's when you need to call on the people from the movement. You need to hit us up in our DM. You need to show up here and ask some questions and share experiences, because we can help you to unpack some of that stuff. And I'm here to tell you right now, I want all of you tonight to just look at the baggage that you carry and look and really discern and look at the stuff that you just might need to take off of you. It will lighten your load. It will lift the burden off of your shoulder. You won't feel as stressed and weighted down by all of that old stuff. You have to let it go. Type that in we haven't typed anything in all night. Type in, let it go. Let it go. Everything that's in there ain't meant for you to carry. Just let it go. Let it go. That's the thing, y'all. That's the thing, Annette. I know sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to accept. Sometimes it's hard to deal with. But the truth of the matter is that you can.
Yeah.
You can deal with it. You can accept it. You can let it go. You don't want to cry about it forever. There's some stuff I let go so long ago. I think that like, oh yeah, that did happen to me. Golly, that seemed like it seemed ages ago. Ooh, I remember I cried so much. Why did I cry so much? And then you get mad at yourself, like, I don't know why I cried so much over that food, that kind of thing. But that's when you know you delivered. It's when you have to like think about it and be like, oh man, oh yeah, that was something. That was a devastating blow. Because that's the stuff that's in the bags at home. And sometimes you might need to go back to that bag for somebody and pull it out and dust it off and say, listen, this was my story once upon a time. Yeah. And you might need to share some things with some people because there's some people that go through some very detrimental things and it's stuff that you've experienced. But if you're still holding on to it like it was yesterday and it was 30 years ago, you need to be delivered. You can't hold on to it like that. Now, if it's in your bag and if you're sharing it as part of the rise up, take up your bed and walk, that's different. But if every time somebody talk to you, oh, I've been through so much. I don't understand. It's like it's uncomfortable. You ever talk to somebody like that? It's uncomfortable. You can't even talk to them because they still crying. My husband left me really when 20 years ago. Child, baby, if you don't get up from here and dry them tears, let it go. It is a done deal. Oh, all righty, good people. That was a nice one. Mm-hmm. That was a nice one. I enjoyed that. I just needed that pick me up. I ask all of you, and I know most of you know, like Annette mentioned earlier, to continue to keep my family in prayer. We lost my brother Sunday. It was such a shock. We did not expect it. And anytime someone dies like that, it really takes you by surprise, and you don't know how to feel. And so we're dealing with the dynamics of all of the arrangements and everything, and it is very, very, very sad. Because losing somebody suddenly is no fun at all. Because you continuously, I can't even get the conversation that I had that night out of my mind. Every night that I go to bed, I relive that conversation over and over again of my niece calling me to tell me. And my response is like, oh, my goodness, my oldest brother is gone. But God knows best. Mm-hmm. And he's in control. And so we have to learn to get past things. But right now, it's very new, and my family is very wounded and torn. So just continue to pray and pray for his wife. He died in her presence, and that's got to be tough. So, but yeah, so we're done. We're gonna, if anybody wants to say anything, anybody want to talk about that baggage, y'all know y'all can open up the mics and y'all can feel free to say anything. We'll give it a few minutes. And if you got anything else you want to share?
No, I don't think so. But baggage is, we all got it. We all got it. And some things we need to carry, and again, some we don't. Mm-hmm. So like Anita said, we're here, we understand. And that's why we actually tell you what we lived. Mm-hmm. It's not book knowledge. I mean, we do study and all, but most of the time we're on here, we pour our hearts out and on things that we've lived through, or in Anita's case, what she's living through. So, it's a organization that's based on experience. We often say we're not a psychiatrists, what is it, psychologists?
Psychologists.
But we're lifeologists.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've lived and we've experienced, so we share what we've lived. We're lifeologists, and that is the truth. Yeah. I don't have anybody's psychology degree, although I started out in psychology, but I ended up in music. But we're not psychologists, not psychiatrists, not doctors, but we're lifeologists. Mm-hmm. We've experienced some things, and we know that our story can help somebody. And as ours is, so can yours. So don't be afraid to deal with your baggage so that you too can be a blessing to somebody else. Mm-hmm. All right, well, good people, we're going to let y'all go. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. We'll be back here next week, same time, same place, different topic. So feel free to join us at 7 o'clock and bring somebody. We know that's Thanksgiving week. Everybody gonna be preparing their little food, and we won't be long. We're gonna give a little thanks, and then we're gonna be on our merry way. But you all be blessed. Have a great evening. Mwah! Enjoy your week. Love you, love you, love you, love you.
Bye, everybody.